Hi guys, in this video we'll talk about the chain of responsibility design pattern with UI automation use case. So let's get started. If you have a situation where you have some code that needs to make a request but you don't know until runtime which objects will be handling the request, you might want to consider using the chain of responsibility pattern. Consider the following real world example. Imagine someone using a software application and they find a bug. So they raise a support ticket in an online support system and that gets picked by a live support worker. In some cases, the live support worker might be able to directly respond to the user. But as this is a bug in software, they need to tell the product manager about the bug and pass the details to them. The product manager looks at the impact of the bug and they decide that they want to prioritize fixing it. So they ask a developer to fix it. That developer is working on something else. He doesn't have time to fix it, but he knows another developer who can fix it, and he is able to fix it. This is the concept of chain of responsibility. Now let's implement a web element handler using the chain of responsibility pattern. In this example, I'm going to implement a successor chain, an app that handles different web elements based on their type. So a successor chain takes an argument and it checks if it can be handled by the first element in the chain. And if it can't, it passes on to the next handler till it finds a handler which can handle the request. As you can see, I have added the required Selenium dependencies to the POM XML. So let's get started. First, let's add the element handler abstract class in the Java package. Later, I'm going to make different concrete implementation of this abstract class for each type of the element that I want to handle. Next, I'm going to give this class a field of type event handler, same type as itself, and I'm going to call this one next because it is going to represent the next element handler in the chain. Next, I'm going to make the constructor, and into the constructor I'm going to pass another element handler object which I'll call next. So now I can create concrete implementation of this abstract class. So I'm going to create another class and I'm going to call it textbox handler. This is for handling text boxes. And I'm going to make sure that it extends the element handler. First, I need to implement the constructor for this class. I'm going to pass in an element handler object to this constructor as well. So that's going to represent the next handler in the chain. Since I don't know the order of the chain yet, I want the abstract class to handle the chain. So I'll just call super. This means it is going to call the constructor of the element handler class. Let's create one more handler for the radio buttons. We'll just copy paste the same class and rename it. Now let's take a look at the website on which we are going to try this project. I have hosted a local web page inside a Docker container using Nginx. If you are interested in knowing how to do that, let me know in the comment section. As you can see, the form has a few text fields and few radio buttons. Let's inspect the element and check the type and ID for the fields. The username field has type as text and the ID is username. And the mail radio button, the type as radio and the ID is mail. Let's jump back to the code. Let's first create a chain handler in the abstract class. It will take web element as an argument. It will check if the next element in the chain is not empty and pass the web element to the concrete implementation of the act method for that class. Now let's make the concrete implementation of the act on element method for the textbox and radio handler class. For the textbox, we need to check if the element is of type text. We will do it by the getAttribute method and check if the property type is text. And if it is, we will do some action. Here for simplicity, I'll just print handling textbox. If the element is not of type text, we will call the chain handler in our abstract class to pass the element to the next handler in the chain to check if it can handle the element. Similarly, we'll add a function for the radio button handler and checking if the element is of type radio and print handling radio button if it is able to handle the element, else calling our super act on element to pass it to the next handler. Let's create the chain in another class where we will be testing our code. This is how we define the chain, by passing the object of the next handler to the constructor of the previous till we don't have any other handler. The null check can also be added to the change handler method to notify if there is no handler to handle a specific type of element. Now let's set up our Selenium driver. I had already downloaded the Chrome driver. I'll just copy it to the resources folder and set the system property webdriver.chrome.driver to this path. Let's now initialize our Chrome driver using the new Chrome driver. Now we'll navigate to our website using the driver navigate to function. Now we'll find the text box using the find by ID method. ID for the username box was username as we saw earlier. Similarly, we'll find the radio button. The ID for the mail radio button was mail. We will use that. Then we will call our act on element method with these two elements. And finally, close the driver. Let me correct the spelling of resources and run the code. As you can see, we were able to handle both the elements. One thing to keep in mind is to make sure the chain is not cyclic, else your code will run forever. That's it for this video guys. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe.